to.
Sorry?
Oh, I've been to England and Scotland and Wales.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oops. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I've been to what? Hang on. Look at that lovely desk. With a mouse that likes to spend its time on the floor. There we go. Gotcha. Yes. I've been to Wales. The only place I've been is Scotland and Ireland. But I think at some point I'll make those journeys. Apparently I'm a lord because I've got a plot of land in Scotland.
Oh.
And even if it's just five, and it's only 5 meters by 5 meters, and usually what you do, you plant a tree. So once you have a land in Scotland, it makes you a lord. You can register yourself as a lord. My daughter did that.
I actually know about that. Yeah, you can get like a square foot and you become a lord, and you get a certificate that says lord on it. I actually know that because I have one.
So from one lord to another.
Yeah, so there you go.
Fantastic.
That's funny. Oh
Okay,
my gosh.
that's hilarious. Okay, so just a couple of things. What I normally do with this is I start off with, I don't do a whole introduction. Reason being is because I do an introduction separately. So once I do the recording, then on my own, because of the conversation that we have, I'm able to talk a bit more in the introduction and then lead people into the podcast. The other thing I do is at the end of the podcast, I do what's called a one card reading with a deck of cards that I created. I created this. This is one of my own.
Wow.
And the way I do it is I ask for your birth date, not the month or the year. So if you're born on the 4th or the 5th, so I need that number, and then I will count that number of cards out, and so if it was 5 cards, I'll take out the 5th card, and then I see what message I have, and I give that to you in the end.
Wow. That sounds good. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So what else? So the way I'm going to kick it off is, so you don't mind me just calling you Paul, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. We're going to kick it off since we're here. We might as well get started. So Paul, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm in sunny California, blue skies. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
fantastic. Funny enough, I was going to ask where you're from, so where you're hailing from. But sunny, how is California these days?
California's good, except you have the problems with the homeless and stuff like that. So you're starting to see more of that. So, but otherwise, it's still beautiful and everything else. Summertime we have to watch out because we have the wildfires. So we get a lot of that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's funny because I think over here, I think a lot of people in the UK love the idea of California. California. California just seems to be. It's either California, LA, or New York.
Oh yeah.
Or New Orleans. These are the kind of places that we think, that's a place to go. I think. Where was I? I've been to Washington and Atlanta. Atlanta's the other one.
Oh, okay.
So I've been to those two places. Yes. And North and South Carolina.
Oh, fantastic.
So Paul, tell me, so what is it that you do, Paul? Tell our audience, what is it that you do?
I'm a paranormal investigator or a Fortean investigator. That is a person who investigates all things paranormal. UFOs, ghosts, demons, cryptids, you name it. So I've been on something like 2,500 investigations. I've been to Skinwalker Ranch. I've been to Area 51. I've been to some very important cases. And my nickname is the Demon Warrior because I do a lot of demonic cases.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so how did you get into that? How did that become part of your life's work?
Well, as a small child, I lived on Effie Street in Fresno, California. And this house was very haunted. and everything was centered on me. And at the time, I was a little boy, and I was pushed into a heater. I saw these skeleton faces with wings that were attacking me. Um, um, there was this thing that looked like a black tea kettle, and the snout pointed at me and hit me with this mist. The next day, I was like totally sick. I was coughing, hacking, and coughing, and then into the night, I was hacking and coughing, and my mother comes in thinking that she's giving me cough syrup, and she gave me poison. And then she rushes me to the bathroom, makes me throw it up. So that being pushed into the heater, and then there was another real scary part where this woman who sounded like my mother was in the orange grove, and she was calling my parents call me Dale. That was my middle name. And she was going,
Yes.
Dale, come here. Dale, come here. So she was mimicking my mother's voice. I go into the kitchen, and there's my mother. So it wasn't my mother calling me into that orange grove. What would have happened as a little boy if I went into that orange grove? Something was mimicking my mother. So very frightening. When we moved out of the house, everything was back to normal. We moved into a new house. When I got older, I started reading paranormal books because I wanted to know what I experienced was real. Was it really the paranormal, or was it childhood nightmares? That's what I wanted to know. So I was reading books from Brad Steiger. I even got into UFOs and Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Däniken. And as an adult, I got to talk to Brad Steiger, and many of my articles, I'm a journalist too, many of my articles wind up in Brad Steiger's books.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and little did I know I was going to be a paranormal investigator, but my life led me to that path. And in the Army, I was with military intelligence. I was a 97 Bravo. And I said, if anybody knows about UFOs, it would be military intelligence. So I became a 97 Bravo, which is an intelligence analyst. I worked with image interpreters, and on one particular day, 6 photographs came in. And those 6 photographs were from reconnaissance satellites and reconnaissance airplanes. They were pictures of UFOs. And you had 6 different shapes. You had like cigar shape, you had a cube shape, you had triangle shape, on and on and on. And they were part of a bigger picture. They were part of a video that was taken by these reconnaissance satellites. And on the back of the photograph, it said intelligent movement. So I knew at that point in time that the U.S. military was still studying UFO phenomena. And that just kind of like blew me away. So, wow, we're not alone. I mean, here's this proof. And and then those photographs went to the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and then it went to the CIA, and then it just vanished. But I wish, if I could go back in time, if I could have just snuck those photos out of there, I would have probably wind up going to prison, but.
Yeah, they didn't have phones, smartphones at that time, right?
I know. If they had smartphones. We're talking 1981.
Yeah, 1981. I want to take you back to your childhood. How old were you when you first started experiencing in this haunted house? And were you the only one who believed it was going on, or did your mother, was she concerned? Did she know that house was haunted?
My mother, as I got older, she was always saying I had that woman intuition, I'm psychic and stuff like that. Yeah, but I mean,
that's why I took you there, because the sense I got is that your mother is psychic, right? I feel that she, you see, there are people who have these gifts, and sometimes when you're raised in a very conservative religious area, you don't actually speak on these things, or you could have seen other people have similar experiences and they're labeled something, so they don't really say anything. They don't say anything. But I feel that your mum was not just psychic, but I feel that she was also a medium. I feel like she has a, because I'm feeling it here, right on my solar plexus, that she has a very, very strong, because she never showed fear.
No,
She
yeah.
never showed fear. And I think because you were a child, it just seemed normal. But people would have found that situation fearful. I think your mother knew more about that house and what was going on there than she probably let on. But how old were you when this first started for you? And what was going on in your mind, trying to piece these experiences together?
I was about, I guess, 6 or 7, um, and I was just terrified. I mean, with all the things that was happening in that house, I thought, wow, this world is so strange and so weird, and these things probably want to hurt me. So I was just terrified. I was scared. And so when I did get older, we moved out of that house. That's when I started reading all the books. But my mom
Yes.
did seem like she did have some knowledge of that house, but it's almost like she didn't really care. She was just like, I know about the ghosts, but they're not there to hurt you, Dale, but they were, and she didn't experience what I experienced.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So, why is what you do? Why is that really important for you? What you do now? Why?
Well,
In the last
because
25 years.
yeah, because what I experience when people call me as a paranormal investigator, when people call me, I mean they're terrified, they're scared, and some of the stuff, and to be honest with you, it could be mental, but then
Yes.
they need some type of help. And I know what I experience, I don't want anybody else to experience. So, my worst cases are demonic cases where people
Okay.
feel like they're possessed by a demon or whatever. And when I help them, I just don't do an investigation, but I do an investigation and I show them in the evidence right there on the spot. So if we get an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, I'm going to show it to them right there. And then, after everything's said and done, I'm going to do a Roman Catholic house blessing with holy water, something I learned from 2 priests, and I'm not ordained, but I just learned it, and I'm very good at it. And also, too, if you have a demonic attachment, I will give you a full body submersion baptism. I will, turn on the water in the bathtub. I'll throw some holy water in there, say some prayers, have my cross with me, and I will give you a full submersion baptism. And that is successful. It's a basic form of exorcism, and the entity will leave after a baptism.
Yes.
So,
So
and
how do you protect yourself when you're doing your work?
there's been a few times where I felt some negative energy on me and stuff like that, but I will myself get another full submersion baptism, and then I'm back to normal again.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm ready to go.
So I'm sure I know what my listeners are going to be like. They would like you to tell them of a situation where you came across somebody who was going through this experience, how it came across your desk, what you did next, what your process was, and how you helped to solve it for this individual. Take us on that journey.
Okay. I have what's called the paranormal hotline, and as a journalist, everything that I investigate, I write an article about. So,
Right.
and I have something like 85 books out there. So, and I've been on some documentaries. I've been on Ghost Adventures and all that other stuff. So, I'm pretty well known in that respect. And people will see my phone number right there, Paranormal Hotline, and they will call it and say, hey, I have an issue going on. I think it's a paranormal issue. And I will go over there and help them. And one of my cases that I had is I had this one lady, and I brought my team over there, and it was very shocking. Um, she said that she
When
was...
you say your team, especially when we're doing like a spiritual show, people think when we say team, many spiritual people will be talking about their ascended masters and those in spirit, and some teams will be the people that they work with. So when you say your team, are you talking about human team or spiritual team or both?
Human team. And also too a spiritual team, because I definitely believe we are surrounded by angels that keep an eye on us. Yes, and you can call them the watchers or whatever, but they're there to help you. And if you pray, you will get assistance, and that's what I do. I pray. I believe in angels, and I believe that these angels are part of my team, will help that person in distress. And we had that one situation where this one lady, we get over there and she's happy and everything that we showed up, and we do our investigation. We get some growling noises on our EVP. As we were talking to her, her body started shaking, and her face started distorting from something that looked very pleasant and happy. It started looking kind of evil, distorted. And it's just not what I'm seeing, but my human team is seeing also.
Right.
And then before we know it, she starts ripping off her clothes in front of us. She jumps in the bathroom. She goes, I gotta get water on me. And on the side of the shower, she starts climbing up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was really bizarre. I mean, she wasn't on the ceiling like you see in movies, but she was on the shower, and she did manage to climb up halfway up there. We did after everything was said and done, we did a Roman Catholic house blessing. I gave her a full submersion baptism.
How did you get off the wall?
She finally, came down and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
And then people were praying. They were doing hands-on prayer. They were praying, and she started settling down and becoming back to normal. And then I did all the other stuff. I baptized her and everything else. And then we communicated like a week later, and she says, yes, everything is fine. So, and also too, she went to the Dollar Tree store and got these little angel figurines. I told her to get these angel figurines, dip them in holy water, say a prayer, a protection prayer over the angel, place them around doorways and windows, and step in the middle of your house, take charge, and ask for angels to protect you, and anything in that house must leave.
Yes. Did you find out in your investigation how she was afflicted by this, how this came into her life, into her world, into her home? Had it been something that had been with her since childhood? Had she gone somewhere? Had someone cursed her? What was the origin of her actually beginning to have this experience?
And her origin was similar to so many. She played with a Ouija board.
There you go. There you go. Leave that board. Leave that board alone.
Leave it alone.
Leave that board alone.
Yeah, so true. And people always fall for it. They always play with that stupid thing.
You know, I have a friend. She told me this. She's an amazing medium. One of the best I know. She went to somebody's house. This was many years ago to do a reading for them, and she sat down. The minute she started reading, her first question was, "Do you use a Ouija board?" The woman said yes. She said she packed all her stuff up and left the house. Left the house. She packed up and left the house.
Oh my
I
God.
did a reading. In fact, I did it because I used to be part of this. It was one of the largest mind, body, spirit event in London or in the UK, and I remember a woman came to me to. It was the last reading of the day, and I was knackered. And one of the people said, "Look, can you do a reading for her because someone else couldn't do the reading?" So I said, "Okay, fine." And I sat her down, and I said, "Okay, how can I help you?" She said, I want to be able to find my soulmate." I went, "Oh, okay, cool." I started shuffling my cards, and I put it down. And at first, I thought I was seeing her ancestors. But then the faces started to change, and they were becoming more demonic. And I had to say to my guides, cut me out of this, get me out of this energy, get me out of this energy. And it was really interesting because I got annoyed. I never get annoyed when I do a reading. Because when I do a reading, there's never judgment. It's always about information. You're having an aerial look. I don't care. You know, 99.9% of the time, apart from this percent, there's no judgment here. But I was having to warn her that what she was doing to get people to love her or find her soulmate is very, very damaging. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because what has come to me was she was dabbling with a Ouija board. She was dabbling with something.
Oh my God.
And she was dabbling with a Ouija board. And that's why she was surrounded by these things. And I spent, I think, 15 minutes of that reading explaining to her what she needed to do to detach herself from that energy. And she didn't even argue. She didn't even say to me, "Oh, what are you talking about?" She sat silent, which meant she knew that I knew. And when I finished, I was exhausted, and she looked at me and says, "Will I find my soulmate then?" I said, "Yeah, please leave my table." Yeah, I think I've got to do a subject on this one because, you know, people have to leave that stuff alone.
Yeah, exactly.
They really need to leave that stuff alone. They don't know what they're messing with. They have no idea. They get excited and they think, "Oh, look what I can do." And you know, I've always said that with spiritual work, you're invited. You don't just walk in and start. "Oh, look what I can do." You need to be invited. Wow. Yeah, that's just blown.
Oh yeah.
So I take it that she's no longer messing with Ouija boards.
Exactly. In fact, I actually took the Ouija board from her with her permission, and I blessed it, and I buried it in hollowed ground at a cemetery. And
Good.
That was the end of it.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So, you know, you've been doing this work now, and how do you see, you know, the future of humanity in regards to the UFOs and to all the stuff that you're doing in terms of people, you know, having these. Now, here's the other thing. Do they only call you when they're having really disturbing experiences? Or do you get calls with someone saying, look, there's someone in my home, I don't know what they want, they don't really bother me, but sometimes I come into my kitchen and all the cupboard doors are open and I don't know why.
And some of the calls that I get are out of state. And so in-person type investigations, they have to pretty be local or maybe 2 hours out from where I live.
Right.
I can't just fly to Alabama or Georgia or whatever to help people, but I will spend time over the telephone explaining to them how to self-bless their own home, to get that full submersion baptism. That's very important if they have that attachment. So, and a lot of these, the telephone type investigations, where I actually teach them how to bless the home and stuff like that, are very successful. So, that works out for me.
That's fantastic. Have you ever had these experiences where, people are just being silly, they don't actually are having any of these experiences and they're attempting to waste your time? Have you have you come across
that? Oh my God! It's funny that you were mentioning that. I had a situation, an investigation. Brought my full team there. They had this ghostly story. It wasn't demonic. It was a ghost that was haunting the house. And so I brought my whole team there. Beautiful house, 2-story house. They had their children there, and it was a birthday.
Okay.
They had a birthday party. And so anyway, we're doing our investigation, and finally, the lady of the house, she came up to me and she goes, "Paul, I have to talk to you. Can we talk outside?" I go, "Yeah, sure." She goes, "The house isn't haunted." She goes, "They watch all these paranormal shows on TV, these kids, and they wanted to actually investigate with you guys, even though the house isn't haunted, but it's sort of like their birthday present. Your team, my human team, is their birthday present, and you're welcome to eat food here. We have all this food laid out and everything else." So I said, okay, and the kids were so excited. They started using our equipment. We were teaching them how to get EVPs and all this other stuff. But we were there just for entertainment, and I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, well, how did you feel? I mean, did you feel like, I've come now.